Today I fricked up by ruining my husband's relationship with his best friend. My husband and I, both 35, have been together for 7 years and married for 5. He has 2 older brothers that he isn't particularly close with. The one person he is very close to is his cousin Aaron. They lived together after my husband graduated college. He was the best man at our wedding, and Aaron even lived with us for a year while we were married so he could finish school. I like Aaron a lot. He's felt like a brother-in-law to me, much more than my actual in-laws have ever felt. My husband and I have had a rough 3 years. Between COVID, there was a point where both of our fathers were in terrible health. We've dealt with infertility issues, and sadly in July we had a stillbirth at 34 weeks pregnant. And Aaron has been there for us through all of that. He's probably the person my husband can lean on the most for support. Last night, I get a call from Aaron's longtime girlfriend, Jennifer. She asked if it was okay if she can come over and have some girl talk with me. Jennifer and Aaron have been together about as long as my husband and I have. She has 3 kids from a previous relationship, and we love them. They spend the night at our house, and her older kids dog sit for us. She comes over and proceeds to tell me some serious problems she's had with Aaron. She's at a loss of what to do. The main crux of her issues are, Aaron is in an insane amount of debt and has basically used her as a place to crash for 7 years. He is constantly criticizing her for parenting, saying she babies her teenage children. And finally, he's lying about where he's going, and his locations have him at a massage place that does happy endings. I hate to say that the financial issues and the parenting issues I already vaguely knew about. Even my husband and I have called Aaron out about how he talks about the teenagers, but I had no idea how bad it was. We talked through it, and I flat out asked her if he is going to a massage parlor and getting happy endings behind your back. Would you still stay with him? And she said yes. So I gave her some advice about boundaries and talking to him and left it at that. After she left, I went upstairs and told my husband what she said. He proceeds to have a complete breakdown. He's in tears. I finally get him to talk, and he starts saying things like, can I just have one person in my life that I can trust? I can't go to my brothers to talk, and now I can't trust Aaron because I know he's been doing this crap. He's better than this. Just completely and utterly destroyed. I feel terrible. I don't even think about it when I told him what Jennifer said. I didn't even think that it could ruin their relationship. Aaron is the only person he goes to for advice and really looks up to as a big brother, and I just completely destroyed that image. I'm going with the classic pretend it didn't happen technique this morning, but I just feel like I completely took away the one family member who felt comfortable turning to for emotional support. What do I do? Can I just have one person in my life that I can trust? I hate to break it to you, buddy, but that one person is your friggin' wife. Amen, brother. Amen. Well, at least the FU has a happy ending. Nice. Aaron is responsible for his own actions and the damage it causes. No one else. I feel for your husband, but he also needs to know that everyone has things that will rightfully knock them off, whatever pedestal you put them on. Everyone is human, and humans are amazing at making really bad, selfish choices. If anything, knowing those decisions puts you in a better place to get advice and perspective from people and apply good judgment on how much weight to give it. Today, I messed up by buying my son a toy at the zoo and not warning my husband. We have family visiting, so yesterday I took my son and his cousins to the zoo. My son saw a toy rubber snake there and really wanted it, so I got it for him. I meant to warn my husband, but forgot after a very long day wrangling rugrats. It was on his bedroom floor this morning when my husband went to get him up and ready for the day. My husband, who is from Jordan originally, had multiple run-ins with venomous snakes as a child, so was understandably scared of them. He immediately screamed, grabbed it, and threw it out the window. It took 10 minutes to calm him down, and another 15 searching the yard while my son cried to find the toy again. His cousins were also crying because they were confused and didn't know what was happening. I need coffee. Hey, at least your husband was willing to get the snake out of the house even though he was scared of it. That's a good spouse putting his family above his fears. Honestly, you have to admire his courage. Dude thought it was a live venomous snake, and he had a phobia, and yet he still grabbed the sucker with his bare hands and threw it out of his son's room immediately. I hope this is funny for you guys later. He must have been a wreck though. This is hysterical. Shut up. Today I messed up by eating beans for 72 hours straight. My family was out of town for a week, so I made a large crock pot of beans with ham chunks, something my mom cooked when I was a child. I kept them simmering for 3 days and ate nothing else, played video games, and ate beans for 72 hours. Life was great. Those beans tasted frickin' amazing. The night of day 3, my body felt like it was being taken over by the Antichrist himself. I got the sweats. I spent so much time on the toilet, I felt like I owed it rent. My ass hurt and swelled up so bad I was sitting on ice cubes trying to find relief. Things and smells were exuding from my backside I didn't know existed, nor would I wish on my worst enemy. After trying every medication I could find and experimenting with every homeopathic solution Google suggested, I finally went to the emergency room. The doctor in the ER that night looked to be about 28 and was a model attractive. After explaining my predicament, I was soon ass up, face down, on an exam table so she and the nurse could get a look. As she was poking the swollen mass that had grown out of my a-hole and commenting on how she had never seen anything like it, I felt a rumble I had experienced many times those past 24 hours, and before I could react, I projectile vomited liquid poop from my butthole that splattered all over the table and the doctor twice. I was mortified. After getting cleaned up by a male orderly, I was admitted and given meds, which helped tremendously with the physical pain, but the emotional damage was already done. I had another half dozen or so doctors and nurses look at my naked backside for the next 36 hours before I was released. My out-of-pocket expense for that visit was over $3,000, making that the most expensive crockpot of beans to ever exist. I'll be paying emotionally for the rest of my life. Info: was your a-hole so swollen it looked like a mass, or was there an actual prolapse contributing to it looking like a mass? Yeah, homie, you gotta bring that up to a boil every now and again, lol. To be fair, they said it was kept simmering, which would be plenty hot for food safety. The real issue was likely the huge amount of fiber for 3 days straight, especially if they don't usually eat lots of fiber on the daily. It wasn't eating the beans for 72 hours straight, it was keeping them simmering on a stove for 3 days and eating rotten ham and beans that was the FU. My out-of-pocket expense for that visit was over $3,000, making that the most expensive crockpot of beans to ever exist. Today I fricked up by being unlucky to live in the USA. Today I fricked up by not rinsing after brushing my teeth. Well, last night I came across yet another thread on Reddit that was like, today I learned you shouldn't rinse after brushing. And this was the 4th or 5th time I've seen that. And I finally relented after searching what dentists were saying, because it turns out it's good to leave the fluoride coating for your teeth. But I didn't look closely at the toothpaste we had at home. We had just moved and for some reason have 2 partly open toothpastes in the same bathroom. And I guess I used the whitening toothpaste, not the sensitive teeth one I usually use. So this morning, my teeth feel painfully sensitive to cold, air, water, everything. So I quickly Googled, and it turns out that advice precisely does not apply only to whitening toothpaste because it can increase tooth sensitivity. Great. Rip me. Hope it goes away soon. I'm in the industry, and I tell adult patients not to rinse and not to eat or drink anything for 30 minutes after brushing. Edit. The sensitivity should go away. Just brush with regular toothpaste for a couple days. I am hella confused now. I never ever heard from anybody that you shouldn't rinse and never thought anybody would not do it. And now I read this thread, and every other comment says, I'm a dentist, and you definitely shouldn't rinse after brushing. Like, what the frick? How have I never heard of that? I'm still going to rinse in the future, though. I think it's disgusting to keep that stuff in your mouth, and every toothpaste I use so far says you shouldn't swallow it. How am I supposed to not swallow it if I keep it in my mouth? Also, my teeth are healthy, so I guess I did something right. That advice is a Mandela effect for me. When I was growing up, the instructions were to brush, rinse, spit. Leaving that nasty, gritty toothpaste in your mouth was never suggested, so I don't know what timeline, universe, or dimension this is, but y'all nasty. I personally would never do that. I always get compulsive swallowing reaction when I'm brushing my teeth, and it's disgusting to swallow the toothpaste, and besides of that, I think it's not very healthy to swallow the toothpaste. So I rinse always as fast as possible. Today I fricked up by intentionally getting an incel's character in D&D killed. He flipped out and is stalking me and my girlfriend online. Awesome, dude. Me and my girlfriend aren't big on Dungeons & Dragons, but after playing through Baldur's Gate 3, we both wanted to try it out. We went to the Meetup app to find a group and settled on one that was running a beginner-level campaign called the Death House. On the day of the meetup, and we meet the other players. In total, there was 5 of us. The DM, who was pretty chill, albeit a bit of a pushover, a quiet guy who was new to the D&D, but wanted to try it, me and my girlfriend, and finally, the crux of this experience, the incel. The experience was miserable. Incel was polite at first, but my girlfriend made it pretty clear that she wasn't interested. Incel took it as a challenge and started flirting with her character in the game. The whole situation was just super uncomfortable at the table. My girlfriend, bless her soul, was too introverted to tell him off, but he had the audacity to say that it was just a game, bruh. Things got too far when he got possessed by a ghost of a kid who made him way more aggressive. Long story short, he got into a fight with everyone. He essentially SA'd my girlfriend's character while ranting about females always picking the wrong guy. PM called him out on that, and I straight up killed his character on the grounds of him being too dangerous, but really, I was super pissed. The guy storms off from the table, and the campaign goes on for another hour until campaign lived up to its name, and total party killed us. The mood was thoroughly spoiled. After that, my girlfriend didn't want to try Dungeons & Dragons anymore. I was sad since I wanted to give it another shot with her, but I respected her decision. I thought it was the end of it. That is until the incel started stalking us on LinkedIn, more so my girlfriend. The frickin' dumbass forgot that it lets you know when someone visits your page. My girlfriend is freaking out and is scared he'll try to find out where I live. I tried assuring her that that won't happen, but internally I'm not so sure. The guy managed to figure out her other handles online, her friend requesting her once on LinkedIn and on Facebook, but for the most part, he hasn't done anything yet. Heads up, Death House is a meat grinder from the Strahd campaign, and a terrible introduction to D&D, lol. Go with something like Mines of Andover instead. Yeah, I noticed that the campaign may have been a bit overtuned when I got killed by a ghost that reduced my health maximum to 0. Jesus Christ, that doesn't sound fun at all. That DM should not be DMing anymore. They should have stopped the game once a character started to SA another character. You should report the DM and the player, the meetup group organizers. Your ass should have been swinging. TF, you mean flirting with your girl and essaying her character, brother? That's a warning sign. Sounds like the kind of guy to try and follow her home and stuff. I'd be careful, man. I don't understand this stuff. Today I messed up by making a dinner reservation as a celebrity. My wife and I were in Buffalo, New York for a friend's wedding. We checked into a hotel the night before and noticed there was a Morton Steakhouse attached to the hotel. My wife suggested we go there for dinner, and I told her I'd make reservations online once we got checked into our room. While she was taking a shower, I made the reservations. When the site asked for a name, I put my first name Zach and was prompted to put in my last name. For some reason, I thought it'd be funny to put Galifianakis. Yes, I actually googled the spelling. I smirked as I confirmed the reservation and didn't think about it again. For reference, I have a beard similar to his in The Hangover, and our body shapes are arguably the same, but that's about it. In a low light setting with some distance, if someone suggested to you that I was him, you wouldn't be able to say, "No way." I usually wear a hat as well, and this evening was no different. About an hour later, we headed down to the restaurant for dinner. The place was very busy. My wife approached the hostess and told her we had a reservation under Zach. I was standing about 10 feet away in a sea of people, but as soon as I saw how the hostess reacted with a huge smile, I immediately remembered what I did and quickly thought to myself, shoot. They think it's really him. As I approached, I could hear the hostess tell my wife, "We've arranged a table in a more private setting for you both." My wife turned around and stared into my soul. I've seen this look so many times from her, and it's always for the same reason. She mouthed, "WTF did you do?" And before I could say anything, the hostess said, "Please follow me." None of the guests could be bothered, but I could feel the eyes on me from every single person that worked there as we followed the hostess to our secluded table. Even the cooks in the kitchen stopped what they were doing to get a glimpse. It was very clear when the reservation came in. The word spread, and excitement was in the air. As the hostess handed us our menus, a very pregnant waitress approached the table. And this is where it all came crashing down. As she welcomed us to the restaurant, I blurted out, "I'm sorry, I'm not Zach Galifianakis." To which she replied with a smile, "Yep, I can see that." The look on my wife's face was priceless, but I was too deep into damage control mode to address it. I said, "I'm an idiot," and I thought it'd be funny, and I wasn't ready for what the waitress was about to unload on me. I'm actually a huge fan of Zach, and when the reservation came in, the hostess ran to the back and told my manager. He actually asked me specifically if I wanted the table because he knew how much of a fan I was. Yes, I felt horrible. Luckily, she seemed to have a great sense of humor. I also think she knew I was genuine with my apology. The restaurant took our picture and signed it. My date with Zach Galifianakis. I left her a $100 tip and signed the credit card slip. Your number one fan, Zach G. Kim, if you're reading this, I hope you and your kid are doing well. I have a friend whose legal name is Elizabeth Hurley. We use her name all the time to get impossible reservations. It's awesome. I used to work in the restaurant industry, and stuff like this is quite common. Chances are the staff already knew and wanted to mess with you, / have a sob story ready for a higher tip. I know our kitchen staff would 100% pull some stuff like that. This reminds me of that commercial about how life sucks for a white guy named Michael Jordan in the 90s. I remember that commercial. My dad lived in Chicago in the early and mid-90s. He and my mom dropped into an Italian place for lunch one day and was told that there'd be an hour wait. Dad has a notorious sense of humor and said, "Hey, Louie told me we could get a table." Host's eyes went wide and came back 5 minutes later and seated them. He said he was terrified it actually worked and was waiting to get roughed up by the real Louie, but nothing happened. It's better than people who use sillier names for reservations. I used to work at a nice Italian restaurant and it was always embarrassing to have to yell, "Spider-Man, Party of 4, Spider-Man," but it happened more often than you would think. We've arranged a table in a more private setting for you both. Between two ferns? Ha, nice. Today I fricked up when I incorrectly guessed someone's costume. I own a bar and often work the register. Every year at this time, I remember my frick up from a couple years ago. At my bar, customers order at a designated spot at the bar where the POS is, and the person working the register takes and expedites the drink orders. It's kind of fast foody, but also super fast and convenient. I was working the register on Halloween a few years back. I was commenting on everyone's costumes as they came up and telling the bartender's drink order based on customers' costumes. "Spider-Man, what can we do for you? We need 6 shots of tequila at table 4 for Jason's mask," etc. Dude comes up holding his hands in front of him at chest level. Fingers are all crooked-like. He's not wearing any other kind of costume. Many customers are not wearing costumes, of course. I don't know why, but my brain registers this is some kind of low-effort costume. He comes up and I say, "Hey, weird hands guy, what can I get for you?" He looks at me all taken aback, then orders a beer. I relay the order to one of the bartenders. "We need a beer for Creepy Hands Man." I look back to the customer as he struggles with his wallet, which is on a lanyard tucked in his shirt. Then I know he's not weird hands guy for Halloween. This is his everyday situation. I just unknowingly made fun of a disabled person. Needless to say, I never commented on costumes ever again. It still keeps me up at night. Yup, that would stick with me forever. I used to be a bartender and yelled at this guy, "What are you, deaf?" Why, yes he was. He got a lot of free drinks that night. Well, at least he didn't hear you. When I worked at an eye doctor, a mother came in with her 5-ish-year-old daughter to get her glasses. The little girl is running around and generally not listening to the mother, so I try to make light of it and say, looks like she might need hearing aids too. Her mother glared straight into my soul and said, she already has a cochlear implant. I will never forget that. It still haunts me 15 years later. Lol. I can feel the secondhand embarrassment through my phone. I can feel the weird hand embarrassment. Today I fricked up by dropping $40,000 down the drain. I'm a janitor at a large school and I'm employed as an independent contractor. I have lots of keys, which one is the master key. The master key unlocks all of the rooms in the school. If anyone loses the master key, then the school would need to replace all of the locks in all of the rooms for security purposes. After this, the school would also need to duplicate the master key for all of the fellow staff members. With this said, losing a master key would cost the school $40,000 to replace. The school would chase this up with whomever lost the master key. I've been a janitor at the school for a few years now, and my lanyard with all the keys on it was a bit loose. It would occasionally unclip for no reason. It was a rainy day and there was a stream of water rushing into the stormed water drains. My lanyard unclipped at the worst possible time, right when I was walking over the stream. It fell in the stream and then got sucked in the drain. Well, I guess I will be paying this one for a while. OP, no one has mentioned this yet, but storm drains contain a catchment. Go look through the grate when it's stopped raining and see if the key is still there. You can lift it to retrieve it. If the master keys are so valuable, they should make them harder to lose. What? That's what insurance is for. They can't hold you liable. This is worth consulting a lawyer and getting a new job. I don't think so. You would be absolutely mental if you paid them a single penny. There's no way this man is financially responsible for this. Today I fricked up by bringing a girl to guys' night. Obligatory didn't happen today, but 2.5 years ago. I then, 23M, matched with a girl, 21, we'll call her A on the infamous app. I planned on driving to go meet with her in town about an hour away. This was okay because my boys and I, about 5 of us, planned on having dinner in that same town. I drive to pick up A and then go to lunch. We hit it off pretty good. Talking is easy, and we're laughing and hitting it off okay. Nothing crazy. Dinner comes around and I'm still in town, and we're all still together. My boy texts me that they are all at the brewery waiting. I kind of screwed up obviously and texted them, hey, like, is it alright if A comes with us? At first they were like, oh, come on man, but screw it, whatever. So I drive over, meet the guys, introduce A, and we start kicking off our guys' dinner. They're also hitting it off with A. All of us, being military and being addicted to nicotine, I popped in an old nicotine pouch. She saw the other guys all take out the same nicotine brand and pop one in, and then asked if she could have one. So I was like, what the heck? I saw her vaping, but did warn her that these are stronger. She says, yep, that's fine. And I was like, whatever. I'm the sober one anyway. So if she wants to get a little buzz and head high, why not? The guys and I start poking and joking, and their food gets there, so they start eating. A little bit of time goes by when I noticed A had gone to the bathroom about 3 times now. Just being curious, I asked her if everything was okay. She said yes, but I saw that she was legitimately swaying on these little stool seats and could barely keep her bearings. Her eyes were pretty glossy and was visibly weak looking. So I said, are you sure? And her response was, well, I'm diabetic. And if you didn't know, nicotine lowers your blood sugar. So she was getting this low blood sugar and needed to boost it. So I run up and I asked the bar if they had any grenadine or like soda, and they didn't, which is stupid. But I asked if they had a dessert and I asked for some brownies and told my buddies, hey, like I just ordered some food. It'll be here in 10 minutes. Well, 45 minutes later, still no brownies, and by this time, A is big struggling. My 2 buddies ran across the street to the 7-Eleven and grabbed as many candies as they could and ran back, just dropped them on the table, and she started popping in the candies, and she was obviously better, but it was insane. Now, if you thought that was all, you'd be wrong. On the way home, we are getting to know each other, asking the typical 20 Qs, and she hits me with the, I used to be in a cult in Canada, tee-hee. I was flabbergasted, but she continues and said, my parents pretty much arranged my marriage, and when I were to have kids, A was still married and had 2 kids, but going through a divorce. Her kids and husband were in California, and she was in the state I was in for the meantime. I was too close to home to turn around and drive her about an hour and 45 minutes back, so I just brought her home and then woke up the next morning and drove all the way back. Never been to a bar that did not have soda. Not gonna lie, this makes me pretty skeptical. A bar that doesn't have any sugary drinks and a diabetic that just chills with hypoglycemia for 45 minutes? Kinda sus. If this is not some script for some sitcom episode, I'ma be mad. This was just one turn after the other. As a diabetic myself, this girl is incredibly stupid not to bring her own sugar or arrange something for herself when she feels a low blood sugar coming up. But most importantly, not communicating that she has diabetes. The idea a bar doesn't have any sugary beverages is mind-blowing to me. No fruit juice, no syrups, nothing? Wild. I don't know what it is about Tinder dates 45 minutes away, but every time I've gone on one, the girl has been in a cult. Today, I fricked up by calling my dog her nickname. Saturday, I had some people over. Some of us were in my room playing VR. One of my dogs follows me around everywhere. She has to be next to me at all times. She loves to get in the way when I'm trying to sit down Or walk. A girl that had never been over before was bent down playing with my other dog. I get up to go to the restroom. The girl is blocking the path, but I can get around her. Of course, when I'm trying to get by, my dog runs right into the small path I have to step over her. I look down at her, my dog, and say, "Watch out, Chub Chub." I walk into the bathroom, stop and think, she didn't think I was talking to her. Did she? I walk back out, and the girl is gone. I'm standing there freaking out. I don't know how to fix this. I can't just run after her and tell her I wasn't saying that to her. If she did think I was talking to her, me realizing it would confirm her thoughts, and if she didn't, that would be even worse. I grab my dog, walk into the living room, and jokingly say, "Who wants to give Chub Chub a bath?" She looks at me, and I see the realization hitting her. She says, "Oh, you call her Chub Chub? Good save. Clean. I wouldn't have managed it." We call ours a variety of names, including dumbass, twitchy fucker, stupid, and grandma dingus. None of those would probably go over either. Awkward save though. Who invites their friends to bathe their dog, even jokingly? I once said, "Ciao Bella," to my GF, and she got upset and said, "Who are you calling Chabella?" She thought you had the audacity. The dog is the best wing pup ever. Today I fricked up by accidentally helping my best friend serenade my girlfriend. So I play the guitar, and my best friend Jake has been telling me all week that he wanted to do something really special to get the girl that he likes attention. He did not tell me who it was. So a few days later, he comes to me with the tablature for the song Belter by Gary Cinnamon. It's a great song, but not in this context. So I learned the song, give back to him, and as he's learning the words to sing, spoiler alert, he can't sing. So a few days later, me, my GF, and Jake are out for a meal, and as we do regularly. I thought that he had the hots for one of the wait staff. My girlfriend did ask why I had my guitar, and I explained that I was helping Jake. So after we finish the meal, Jake stands up and tells me to get my guitar out. He then starts singing the song directly to my girlfriend, out of time and out of tune, to a packed Italian restaurant. I immediately realized what was going on, so I started to sing louder and in time and in tune to my girlfriend. Jake got mad and stormed out for apparently ruining his shot with his crush, and now he isn't speaking to me. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up. Your friend literally tried to steal your girlfriend, then got mad at you for ruining his chance? This guy is a straight up shithead. Hope you don't plan on talking to him again. Both of y'all suck for pulling this stuff in a restaurant. Nobody wants to hear that stuff. The image of OP trying to sing louder than his friend to drown him out just makes me shudder. Please let me eat in peace. OP is 14. That's the only way this makes sense. And maybe the friend has some issues where he's clueless. Sure, bro, we buy it. Today I fricked up by mistaking a child for a dog. Today I was walking home from the shops where I live. We have very, very few street lights, and it was extremely dark. I was walking along and there was a woman who just sort of in the street light, but she had a lead. I love dogs, total dog person, so I started looking to see the dog, and I can't quite see the dog because of the light was in the road. But then the dog moves into the light more, and I realized that the dog has one of those Rain Mac coats. It was pink with love hearts on it. So cute. It made sense for him to be wearing a coat since it's cold and rainy in the UK. So I did the proper British thing, walked past, gave the awkward smile, and said, "Your dog's coat is so cute." Her face dropped. It was then that said dog stood up after crawling around on the wet grass, and what appeared before me was a 3 to 4 year old. She had one of those backpack harnesses on. The woman was mortified. I was mortified. Confused, bright red, and stumbling over my words, I spat out the worst apology you'd ever hear and ran off. I don't think I've ever been more embarrassed. I'm mostly grateful I was on the other side of the road, so my escape route was easier. So, what have I learned from this is kids' harnesses terrify me, and never try to compliment people's dogs again. And to the poor woman whose child I mistook for a dog, I am so sorry. Although I'd make it clear, harnesses are great in my opinion for kids. They ensure your child is safe and has independence, but please don't let them crawl around. Imbeciles like me might mistake your child for a dog if it's a bit dark. Personally, I think a bumbling, rushed apology in the moment shows it was an honest mistake. I'm seeing a lot of hate for the toddler leash, but when you need one, you really need it. My daughter was like my shadow. Never more than a meter away from me, but my son would run like the wind, never looking back if it wasn't somehow restrained. He was later diagnosed with mild autism, but he had no fear. Not of cars or dogs or strangers. It was the worst year of my life between when he was 2 and 3, and that harness saved me. If you're going to walk your kid around on a leash like an animal, don't be surprised when someone mistakes them for one, especially if said child is crawling around on all fours in the grass. Once when I was in 5th grade, I was running some errands with my mom and brought along my homework. We were at the bank's drive-through window, and I was leaning over my papers so that the teller would have seen my shoulders and a bunch of hair and said to my mom, "You guessed it, you have a cute dog." My dad actually kicked me off the bed once because he thought I was our dog. Lol. Things like this happen way more than you would think. Man, if a small dog stood up off the grass, transforming into a small human child before my eyes, I wouldn't have time to eke out an apology because I would have been running for my life before I got a proper explanation. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Make sure to leave a like, comment below, subscribe if you're new, turn on post notifications so you get notified every time this channel uploads. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful night.